So you want to become a legendary horse trainer in Umamusume. Well, ladies and gentlemen, lace up those racing boots because today we're going to be taking your cute little rookies and turning them into Triple Crown champions. We're going to be going over every single trick that I've learned, and by the end of this video, you'll be able to take any Uma, whether you've whaled on banners or just playing free to play, and turn them into the best Umas in the game. We're going to be going over a lot of tips and tricks here, and we're just going to dive straight in. Now, when you first start your careers, you're not going to have a lot of legacies to be able to start building out very powerful Umas, and that's going to be the first goal that we're going to be aiming for. We want really good legacies. And thankfully with these tips, you're going to be able to build these out very quickly. Now, the first thing you can do is actually bring in guests. You can do this 3 times a day, and you can really take advantage of this to get incredibly powerful Umas fast. Now, I actually have a friend here that has a 9-star stamina Uma. If I go into this, we can go to the inspiration. We can see the stamina 3 stars, stamina 3 stars, and stamina 3 stars. This is a version of the goal that everyone should be striving for in Umamusume. This is called a 9-star Uma. Now, some of you may be going for stamina, others may be going for speed, or a mixture of stamina, speed, and power. Now, if you're wondering, well, how do I get friends with good Umas? Well, we can go back to the home screen, and there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can click on friends, and then you can go to recommended, and you can scroll through this list here and see if you're able to follow them and if they have support cards and Umamusume that you want. All you need to do is click into them, and you go to inspiration and you see what they have. Now, this one here has 2-star power, 3 power, and 2 speed. And most of the time you're looking for speed, power, or stamina. Now, personally, I'm looking for 3 stars into one specific stat, but this one isn't a bad option, so I will follow them just in case. But essentially, you can scroll through this list and see what people have, and if you like it, then you can follow them and you can actually borrow their Umas 3 times a day. Now, if you want, you can also try and follow me if I'm allowed to have more followers. I don't have a 9-star Uma yet. I'm getting pretty close, but I do have a 7-star speed Uma up here, as well as a level 45 Akita-san Black, which this is the best support card in the game for years, and even just this alone is going to be incredibly helpful. Now, when it comes to stats, speed is always going to be the single most important thing for any Uma. Our goal is to always get this to 1200. Now, depending on the style, now if you're making a pace chaser, the next important stat is going to be stamina and then power. And my goal is to always get at least 300 into wit. Speed is going to be the maximum speed that your Uma can run. Stamina is going to dictate how long your Uma can actually maintain that max speed. Power affects your character's ability to accelerate and break out of the pack and maintain their speed against other runners. It's especially important for Umas that need to be able to overtake other players. So power is very important for pace and late. And if you are raising a late style horse, power is going to end up becoming more important than stamina because you're going to be conserving more stamina being at the back of the pack for the majority of the race. Guts isn't particularly important, and it's more of a late game stat. It affects how well your character maintains their speed when stamina is low, and potentially increasing acceleration at the end of a race. So it can technically be important for characters who rely on a late game surge. Now, wit, in my opinion, is a really important stat, and I always like raising this as much as possible while not decreasing any of my other stats that I do need. Now, wit determines your character's ability to position themselves well during a race, which is important for pace and late style Umas. And the higher your wit, the higher chance your Uma has of using its skills that you learn throughout your career. But don't worry, I'm going to be showing you the perfect method to max out all of these stats for any Uma, and you really won't have to worry about that too much. Now, for this particular playthrough, I am raising a pace chaser, so I'm going to pick up this 9-star stamina Uma, and I'm going to use my 7-star Uma for speed. So every time I get an inspiration, I'm going to get a drastic increase in both of these stats. Now, when it comes to support cards, I like to use no less than 4 speed support cards because we are needing to max this out, and depending on your build is going to dictate what other support cards you should use. I'm going to be focusing a lot on stamina on this run, so I'm going to bring Super Creek with me, and I do particularly like this wit card that I have, especially because it is maxed out. I could bring another stamina card or another speed card if I wanted to, but as a rule of thumb, I never go below 4 speed cards. And if you're really wanting to focus on maxing out on speed and you don't have a lot of good support cards, then I would probably go with 5 instead. But I know already with my build, I can max out speed with 4, so I do want to focus more on wit and stamina. Now, once you begin your career, you're going to get your first of 3 inspirations. So we got 45 speed, 63 stamina, and a bunch of other little things and skills to be able to give us a boost at the beginning of our career. So you can see already just starting, I'm already at 181 speed and 197 stamina. Now, for our first first set of turns before our debut race, the main thing you want to focus on is where you have the most support cards. Right now I have 2 inside of Wit and I have 2 inside of Guts. Now I don't usually like to roll Guts, but I do want to focus on leveling up our friendships, and I think using Wit right now would be a bit of a waste, so I'm going to go ahead and do the Guts. We're really going to be focusing on making sure we maintain our energy, and we really don't want to use the rest feature if we can avoid it. For this one I've got 2 on stamina, so I'm going to boost my stamina a little bit. The more you focus on leveling up your friendships early in your career, the better it's going to pan out for you in the end, because you're going to be able to get more of the friendship boosted trainings, which are incredibly powerful. Now I do have 3 here, but you're going to notice that my energy is going to get down to about 50%, which is pretty low. So I could have the option here to use Wit to regenerate a little bit of energy, but I think I'm going to use stamina again here, and hopefully we get more people inside of Wit this time. We didn't, but I do want to regenerate energy now rather than having to rest in the future, so we're going to go ahead and start boosting our Wit a little bit. This is all just about energy conservation, because if we're resting, then we're not training at all, and we want to avoid resting at all times. Now, the other thing to keep an eye on is your mood. If you can get to a good mood, then it's going to increase your training results by 10% and increases attributes while running by 2%. So each boost in mood can be very, very beneficial. You never want to go below normal, and there should be plenty of times during your training where you're going to get automatic mood boosts. Some UMAs are more espresso depresso than others, and you'll get a lot of negative effects, which means you're going to have to use recreation. Right now, I'm fine with it being at normal. I want some natural increases where I don't have to waste a turn. We finally got some support cards into speed, so we're going to start boosting that. So now we have to make a decision. We burned through a lot of energy, more than I traditionally would, and now we have a 30% chance to fail on most of these, and we really don't have a lot stacked up on the support card side. Now I could do Wit and I could regenerate a little bit of energy. I think in this moment resting might be better, but I'm going to do the Wit because I really just want to avoid resting as long as possible, and maybe we'll get an energy regeneration event happening right after, which it does seem that we did. So we're going to choose this top option here. Could you give me some pointers on training? And we should regenerate a little bit of energy. And that was perfect. We avoided another rest. We finally made it to our debut race, and you should have skill points saved up at this point. I would not recommend burning your skill points this early. The debut race is easy to win, and you want to stack up more hints so you can acquire more skills over time, so burning your skill points too early can actually be a very big detriment. So for the debut race specifically, we're just going to race it. So now we've got 13 turns until our next race, and we are in early July. We're going to keep training the same way that we were before, focusing on hints and where the most support cards are. I've got 4 support cards here for stamina, so we're going to click that one. Always skip out on the extra training for more energy. And just the sooner that we can max out our friendships, the better it's going to be. That is very, very important. Now, unfortunately, I did just get one of those bad events that decreases the mood, so I am going to have to use recreation here. Now we could rest or do recreation. Sometimes when you rest, it will increase your mood, and sometimes when you do recreation, you'll only increase your mood but won't regain energy. So it's kind of a gamble here because I might end up having to do both. Let's do recreation and see what happens. We could also get the claw machine here. All right, we regened a little bit of stamina and increased our mood. Now at this point, if you have been focusing on your friendships, you should start getting your friendship bonus training, which gives you a massive boost in stats. Now I have a 9% failure here. I really don't like gambling when it's above 10%. Most of the time it's not worth it. There are some caveats where I still gamble, but most of the time it's not worth it. So we are going to do this here, because also we had a whole bunch of other support cards there. Whenever she comes up, I always like selecting to work on speed. That's just going to give us an extra speed boost. And now at this point, unless I have a lot stacked on Wit, I am going to take, I think this might be my second rest so far. You can see how we were falling behind on speed before, but now that we've unlocked these friendship trainings, we're starting to increase our speed very, very quickly. Now we finally made it to our first New Year's resolution. The top option is going to give you an increase to one of your abilities stats. The middle one is going to regenerate energy, which is the one that I always pick. The bottom one is going to give you skill points. Nothing is better than getting energy back, and you always want to time spending your energy before you get to New Year's. So never rest before it's about to be New Year's. You can see what time of the year it is up at the top here. So it's always a good time to spend your energy before New Year's because you can just regenerate it right after, and we can keep doing our training. Now for our second race, we still have 286 skill points. For me, this is an open. If it's any of the G-class races, I would probably use a little bit of skill points here at this point. Now, when it comes to skills, you want to make sure you get ones that are focused around what your actual UMA specializes in. You can click on full stats. You can see we have medium, long, pace, and turf. Anything outside of those isn't going to be able to be utilized by our Uma. Now, after beating a race, you do want to really make sure to look at what races are coming up in the future. There are 2 races that you want to pay attention to that are career enders for a lot of Umas, but there is actually a really easy trick to avoid actually ending your entire career at this moment. That's the Kukuka Show and the Tenno Show Spring. These are both long races, and the Uma I'm using right now has to do both of them back to back. These are long races, so they're essentially stamina checks, and if you don't have enough stamina here, you will end your career. But that doesn't mean you have to just start focusing strictly on stamina. There's a few different ways that you can offset this. You can get skills that regenerate stamina. So I do want to plan for getting Race Planner, which decreases fatigue, or any really stamina regeneration ability that I can get. There is one other trick that if we can get to 350 stamina or 400 stamina preferably, then we can use one trick that we're going to show off once we get to that race to be able to beat it without any problem, and you'll never fail a career again. Now, anytime you have an opportunity to preserve strength, always choose that option. Now, I am prompted here where I have to get a little bit more fans to be able to continue to the next race. So if you end up having to race anything to gain more fans, make sure you wait or try and find one that you have a double star for. This one we get 2,000 fans. It's open, it's turf and medium. This is going to be a very, very easy race for us to win. Secret to Strength training event, we're given an option that we can gamble with. For the top one, we're going to regenerate 10 energy and get 5 skill points. The bottom one has a 50% success rate where we get plus 30 energy and plus 10 skill points, but on failure, we get plus 30 energy, plus 10 skill points, negative 5 speed, plus 5 power, and we get the slow metabolism thing, which means we're going to need to rest. In most circumstances, I wouldn't pick the bottom one. I already have enough energy and my mood is great, so I'm going to pick the top one here. If I felt like gambling and getting more energy back without having to rest, I might take it. But I would say in most circumstances, picking the top option is the right choice because it's not worth getting any negative effects. And now we finally got our second inspiration. We're going to get one more towards the end of our career, and this is going to give us another massive boost. This is where your legacies really come in handy at making powerful Umas. This is my first G1 race, and I don't want to get anything but first place, so I'm going to finally start investing in some skills. Now, we just had this green lady show up, and that means in 2 days we have our beach training event. We want to make sure we have full stamina for that event. I'm going to see what our boost is here. We definitely don't want to burn anything here. I think we're just going to go ahead and take advantage of this and rest right now. Try and get our energy up as high as we can. And I'll probably do another wit here just to get a little bit of extra energy before going into the summer event, because we're about to do that now. And this is our first beach training event. When you get to this event, you have level 5 trainings across the board, and you can gain a ton of stats here. Now, I already hit my stamina threshold that I needed to be able to kind of cheese getting through these 2 long races, but I'm still going to level up stamina here, and I'll still show you the cheese so that way you never fail a career ever again. So here I have some interesting choices. I could get 26 speed, I could get 27 stamina and guts, or I can level wit, regenerate energy, and still boost 2 of my support cards but I haven't gotten to orange yet or maxed out, and I still get speed here. So we're definitely going to do wit, and hopefully we get an even bigger speed boost option here in just a second. And we did. Now we have a level 41, which is phenomenal. And we got plus 40 on this one, which is huge. So the most important thing when prepping for the beach training day is just to make sure you have energy and never rest through it. Of course, if you have a few good options that burn energy and they're really worth doing and then having to rest after, then absolutely do that too. Now for your second New Year's shrine visit, we want to make sure to look after health. This is going to be the energy recovery one. This one's going to give you skill points and this one's going to give you ability points, but definitely always go for the energy unless you're already maxed out. The raffle can be pretty great. We did actually regenerated a ton of energy there and got a bunch of skill points. That one is completely RNG based. Sometimes you just get a little bit of energy. Sometimes you get a ton of energy with a ton of skills. It's all RNG based. There's no way to control it. And these boosts right here is why it's so important to level up your friendships and have multiple of the speed cards, because getting 55 speed and 23 power on one click is pretty phenomenal. And we're getting our third inspiration now. Now you can get different levels of inspiration as well. I believe we just got a gold inspiration. Actually, we did not get a gold inspiration that time, but there's different levels of inspirations, and that's also RNG based as well. All right, so now we have one of the career-ending races, the Tenno Show. This is a long race and is a stamina check, and if you don't have enough stamina, then this is going to end the career for most UMAs. Now, thankfully, there's actually one trick you can do, and thanks to Reki for telling me about this, because this has saved all of my runs since I learned it. If you don't have enough stamina to beat this race, you need 500 to 600 stamina to be able to beat it, or you can just switch to a late surger even if you don't specialize in it, because your UMA will conserve stamina, and it's basically like getting a free stamina boost even if you don't specialize in it. And this will save so many runs. If you've ever struggled where your runs you suddenly just can't beat a race and you don't know why, it's because of these stupid long races. There's two of them. There's the Kikuka Show, which is in October, and it's a long race. And don't get the Tenno Show Autumn confused. That's only medium. Tenno Show Autumn is easy. It's the Tenno Show Spring with the spring blossoms that is the long one and a very bad career ender. So we're gonna switch our strategy to late, and we can just view results here, and we should at least come in second. It'd be nice to come in first, but unless you're going full-blown stamina, which means you're going to be sacrificing a ton of speed, it's not worth it. In each career, there are always 2 of these summer beach training events. We just had the Green Lady pop up, which means we need to focus on making sure we have max energy going into that. The only caveat to this is if we have something in particular that is really worth spending energy on, and I think this time I will. So now we can rest, and we basically have full energy for the beach training event. Now in here, if I don't already have max energy, I'm going to use Wit and hope for a better one, especially this late in the year. I'm just really not getting lucky with having all of my people stacked on speed. I've only had people stacked on speed like 3 times this entire career. And sometimes that's just how the RNGesus cookie crumbles, I'll tell you what. Now, once you get to your last race, things are going to start getting pretty tight. You're not going to have a lot of training left after this, especially once you start prepping for the URA finale. So trying to max out speed here is going to be the most important thing for us. Even though we only have 1 turn left, I'm going to take the 12% risk. I know I have a bad status effect here, but I'm hoping that I get some good events that are going to boost our mood, because I just can't waste time with recreation right now. And we made it to the URA finale. You'll notice here that we don't have many training days. We're going to get 1 training day each time. Our energy is already very low. And honestly, throughout this entire run, I've had some of the worst luck ever with the placements of my support cards. Most of the time, they either landed on power or guts. So it's been actually really hard to max out some of the other stats, and quite frankly, sometimes that's just unavoidable. But we're still going to get our max speed. I think I am going to rest here and hope that the other 2 training events are going to give me really good stuff for our speed, and we should still be okay. The best part about these is every time you win a race, you're getting a lot of skill points and a bunch of extra stats. So we got to hope here that we get a good speed training. I've had the worst luck with this. This is absolutely crazy. We'll take the failure chance. There we go. We're at 146. This should still max out because we're going to get a bunch of bonuses from beating this race, as well as from all of our friendship bonuses and events that happen post winning the URA finale. Comes the part where we have to pray that it was all actually worth it. When we complete our career, this is where we see what sparks our UMA gets from their career. So let's see what we got. We got B+, which is fine. Getting rank A is usually not worth it. You end up with a worse UMA more times out than not. And our sparks, we wanted a 3-star speed, we got a 1-star wit. There's no way to control what sparks you get. The only way to control anything is the possibility of getting the 3-star versions, which means you need 1100 or more in a stat to even be able to have a 10% chance to get a 3-star blue spark. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything really good on this particular UMA, so that's where it does get complicated to actually be able to build good legacies, because you need to get lucky with the RNG at the end for your sparks. But we did set ourselves up to be able to get a level 3 speed spark, but unfortunately just didn't quite get there. But unfortunately, we rolled wit instead. Now, unfortunately, I really did have bad luck with these sparks that I rolled, but with this method, you really will be able to create the best UMAs in the game and have the highest chance of getting good inspirations with this method as well. It's just going to take, a little bit of luck, unfortunately, but over time, you will be able to create incredibly powerful UMAs by using this method. Now, I do really hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and let me know what the best UMAs you've gotten so far are, because I would really love to know.